8:45, this is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. A news edited by Lal Mallavarache and read by Niranjan Abesundara. The Prime Minister said the youth show a keen interest in the vocational training. Minister Kiran Bakala said that Sri Lanka believe that India will support our country at the Human Rights Council. Total number of corona recoveries in the country passed the 80,000 mark. The government expects to vaccinate all eligible people as soon as possible. In world news, hundreds of abducted Nigerian school children released by gunmen. The Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa said that the youth are showing a keen interest in the vocational training sector. The Prime Minister said that he prepared a plan to direct children who lost their higher education to the vocational field when he was Labour Minister. The Prime Minister mentioned this while attending the Skills Sri Lanka program at the BMICH in Colombo this morning. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa was also chief guest at this occasion. State Minister Dr. Sitaraman said that there is a revival in vocational training sector in the country. The official logo of the Skills Sri Lanka was also launched at this function. Archbishop of Colombo, Malcolm Kalarandit, said today that called on Sri Lankan authorities to bring to justice without delay the true masterminds behind the Easter Sunday attacks and those who have seriously neglected their duties despite having prior knowledge of the attacks. A copy of the final report of the Presidential Commission of Inquiry appointed to investigate inquiry into the Easter Sunday attacks was handed over to the Archbishop of Colombo yesterday. Speaking to the media today, Cardinal Karantit expressed his gratitude to the members of the Commission for their work over a period of around 1.5 years. He also stated that a team comprising of himself, auxiliary bishops, reverends and several experts are working on studying the report extensively and presenting recommendations. He stated he cannot make a final conclusion regarding the report until it is properly studied. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Co-cabinet spokesman Kiran Bakala says Sri Lanka believe that India will stand with the right group and will support our country at the Human Rights Council. Speaking to reporters, he said that the government expresses displeasure with the way in which the Human Rights Commissioner reported about Sri Lanka because it is completely false. Sri Lanka faces a tough resolution against it, which accuses the country of war crimes with threats to take those responsible to national courts and impose targeted sanctions against allegedly responsible officials. Sri Lanka has rejected the facts presented in the report produced by the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, Michelle Bachelet. Meanwhile, Foreign Minister Dinesh Gunawardena has dismissed the allegation leveled against Sri Lanka. He said the move of some members of the UN Human Rights Council are detrimental to Sri Lanka's constitution. The total number of coronavirus recoveries in Sri Lanka crossed the 80,000 mark today. The Health Ministry reported that among another 598 patients were discharged after recovering from the illness. The tally of the COVID-19 recoveries in the country has increased to 80,020. Meanwhile, 3,056 infected patients are currently under medical care at hospitals and treatment centers. A total of 83,552 cases of coronavirus have been reported in the country so far, and the death toll stands at 476. And that ends local news for now.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Veda Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
Tourism Minister Prasanna Ranatunga said the government expects to vaccinate all eligible people as soon as possible. And around 1 million people will receive the first dose of vaccinations against the COVID-19 pandemic within the next 2 weeks. We have no doubt that the government will win the battle against the pandemic and develop the country's economy, he added. Addressing the gathering at a ceremony held in Minuwangola, the minister said it is also the victory of the government that Sri Lanka received the 2 consignments of vaccines, 1 million doses, while 130 other countries are still waiting to get even a single dose of the vaccine. He said AstraZeneca vaccination rollout is now in full swing. That was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhaleba.
On to Watchlight, the National Water Supply and Drainage Board requests the public to use water sparingly in the face of the prevailing dry weather. Due to this condition, water supply to several areas will be at low pressure. That came to in Watchlight.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
From the first step you take till the time we meet, the trusted leader prioritizes you always. All you need under one roof. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
Hundreds of abducted Nigerian schoolgirls released by gunmen. Migrating flamingos turned Mumbai lakes into sea of pink. Indonesia's Mount Sinbang erupts. A group of nearly 300 girls who were kidnapped from a school in northwestern Nigeria last week have been released, local officials said. The girls were abducted by unidentified gunmen from their boarding school in Jangzabi, Zamfara state, on Friday and taken to a forest, police said. The state's governor said today the group had been freed and the girls were now safe. Such kidnappings are carried out for ransom and are common in the north. Migrating flamingos turned Mumbai lakes into sea of pink. Thousands of flamingo birds migrate to lakes and wetlands of western India to find food and better nesting grounds. The annual spectacle in Navi Mumbai city has drawn people from nearby cities and towns. Bird watchers say that the growing number of flamingos in the city is a good sign. But they said the authorities need to do more to ensure that annual migration pattern is not disturbed because of construction activity in the area. An Indonesian volcano erupted today, sending clouds of ash up to 5 kilometers into the sky. Located in North Sumatra, Mount Sinbang first erupted in 2010 after being inactive for centuries and has been seen an increase in its activity over the last year. There are no reported injuries, but locals have been advised to stay 3 kilometers away from the crater. And back to the headlines of the world news. Hundreds of abducted Nigerian schoolgirls released by gunmen. Migrating flamingos turn Mumbai lakes into sea of pink. Indonesia's Mount Sinbang erupts. That was World News.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
From the first step you take till the time we meet, the trusted leader prioritizes you always. All you need under one roof. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
Development News is brought to you by
CIB offers valuable prize for New Year from 1st to 15th of March. Our choice in our own place. CIB.
Pan-Asian Power PLC, dynamic Sri Lankan renewable energy solution organisation and a supply of renewable energy to the national grid, recently commissioned a 3-megawatt ground solar plant in Mathura worth a total investment of 420 million rupees. Solar plant will generate 6.1 million kilowatts of green electricity per year, same equivalent of 5,100 metric tons of CO2, which would otherwise be emitted using non-renewable energy sources or the CO2 sequestered by 700,000 trees. That is Development News.
Development News was brought to you by
CIB offers valuable prize for New Year from 1st to 15th of March. Our choice in our own place. CIB.
On to sports news. Left-handed batsman Lahara Thirimana and all-rounder Dhananjaya De Silva are set to join the rest of the Sri Lankan squad in the West Indies by March 7th. Both Thirimana and Dhananjaya successfully cleared their fitness tests and were available for selection. Thirimana was sidelined from the original squad and underwent self-isolation after he was tested COVID-19 positive, along with Nationals coach Mickey Arthur. He was finally cleared after another PCR test and is now ready to deliver the goods with the national team. That was sports news.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Business News.
Sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Sri Lanka stocks fell 1.27% today on the back of 0.5% fall a day earlier, as investor took profits after gain last week, taking a cue from the index-heavy stock of LOLC, and valuable group brokers said. Turnover was 1.98 billion rupees, with 40 stocks gaining and 125 falling. Sri Lanka stocks have been volatile in February after steep gains in January. That was business news.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money. Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Economic news, courtesy of...
Congratulations on your promotion. It will be our treat, huh?
How about today?
Oh no, I was just joking.
It's fine. I have my LOLC credit card with me. Let's go out today.
Introducing LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
Minister of Trade Bandaru Ramadhan said the present government will not make any attempt to increase the prices of rice and will maximize its intervention to protect the consumer and the farmer as well as rice mill owners. The minister said this at a meeting with the rice mill owners. Rice mill owners who participated in the discussion with the minister presenting their problems said rice production activities have been severely affected as farmers are now working to sell paddy at higher price. The owners of the small-scale rice mills stated that this situation arises when large-scale mill owners give at least 10 cents more than the government to farmers for paddy, and the government's intervention is essential to control it. That is economic news.
Hello, Puta. Did you land already?
No, Amma. We're in transit and our flight got delayed.
Oh, really? How is Shani? Poor thing with her pregnancy. She might be feeling very uncomfortable. The airport must be heavily crowded because it's a season.
Amma, calm down. Everything is sorted. Why, I have my LOLC World Card with me. We are at the VIP lounge. There's nothing to worry.
Those who spread goodness radiate happiness to everyone around them. Introducing LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
And on to the weather. Met Department says mainly fair weather will prevail over most parts of the island. Misty conditions can be expected some places in the central, Sabaragamu, U and western provinces to the morning tomorrow. Back to the headlines of the news. The Prime Minister said the youth show keen interest in the vocational training. Minister Kiran Bukala said that Sri Lanka believe that India will support our country at the Human Rights Council. A total number of corona recoveries in the country passed the 80,000 mark. The government expects to vaccinate all eligible people as soon as possible. In the world news, hundreds of abducted Nigerian schoolgirls released by gunmen. That ends the news. Back to Victor Raj this Tuesday night. Over to you, Victor.